Honestly, I love America, but I believe we fucked ourselves.
I not even had to go to a class to learn how to deal with millennials.
They stopped teaching cursive, dude. I literally teared when I heard that.
There's no sense of questioning with anything anymore.
You are a millennial, I assume.
I'm actually 43, I decided well.
You know, we're kind of on the cusp of, you know, before the internet, and it grew up without that. And I think, you know, the next generation, that's going to blow their mind. Not, to, you know, how did you live without being connected all the time?
Technology, more than anything else, has allowed people to communicate more quickly. Not necessarily more effectively or easier, but quicker.
Our parents think of it as just a way to give a message, whereas if her and I are texting, it's a fluid conversation with emotion behind it. It's just very different. So I can text my 15-year-old brother and we're totally on the same page. Like, I think that's cool.
If you have technology come out between age 15 and 35, you're going to live with that. It's going to be your bread and butter. You're going to understand that. After 35, it's the devil, it's witchcraft. You don't understand it. You know, when I was younger, I didn't understand how half that crap. I didn't know how to work, you know, a computer, and now it's like, it's my lifeblood.
When I take the bus into work, and the other day I was looking around and pretty much everybody was on their phone, and I chose not to be on my phone, and in my head I thought, if there's some sort of accident, I'm going to be the first one that's going to know what's going on and how to get out of the situation because I'm actually paying attention.
We saw like a huge group of kids from the Y, like touring Tower.
Yeah, youngish
they're all online, and like I was just saying, I was like, I'm really glad that I grew up before like everyone had cell phones.
Yeah, they were all like
because they were all just like on their iPhones and they're like 11, and I just thought it was like really weird. I'm like, if it was like a school trip for me, it'd be like a Game Boy.
When I'm bored, I try to not just pull out my phone. I try to like go hiking and get outdoors a lot. But
it's hard to break out of like, or like people do things and they're like, how am I gonna record this? And like, how am I gonna put it on Instagram or Facebook?
Concentrate on being in the moment and in the here, in the now.
You look at other people's lives and you're like, oh, their life is just like a beautiful brunch and like sunset, and it's not real.
I try to make an effort to call people or to at least text them, and I even really enjoy writing letters, like old school style, so I've been doing that a lot, and I don't know, it just seems more personal to me.
I remember in high school, no one had cell phones when I went to high school. Now, like everyone does. It's definitely become more fast-paced, I think.
It's just changed so fast, and it's what's I think craziest about it to me is how integral it is now.
But I remember as a kid, you know, listening to a song on the radio, and I would have these tapes of just songs I heard on the radio that I would record, and I had no idea what these songs were, and there was no way to find it out, and it was the sense of wonder.
Well, I'm trying to find work in my field, but I'm working outside of it, and just, you know, it's hard to make that transition from college to the professional world. And, you know, sometimes I, you know, faced with the pressure of thinking, what if I studied econ, you know, what if I did a more traditional route? But I really do believe that, you know, if I'm just going towards my talents, that they'll still be relevant.
The reality is, as a small business owner, like, we can barely afford to hire 4 of our friends as employees anymore because the rent's going up. Like, you know, you might say, oh, they're bringing in other jobs, but they're bringing in other jobs for people that don't live here now.
Do you want to work 5 hours overtime? Like, no, I'd rather go like hang out with my friends. You know, I already worked 8 hours. I don't want overtime. I don't care about the extra $30 or whatever. Like, enjoying yourself and not making yourself a slave to the system.
I've interviewed for 11 different companies now, probably 30 interviews in the past month, and I still haven't landed a job.
You have to put the FaceTime in still. It doesn't make up for it. You can have a strong LinkedIn presence, you can have a strong, you know, whatever social media, but you still have to put in the FaceTime, I think. There's a lot more that gets worked out in 5 minutes face-to-face than you can ever put on a profile.
I feel like the fact that I'm kind of doing my own thing right now, just sort of figuring it out, isn't like a bad thing.
Pump gas, doing what needs to be done.
Even in low light, I could see the look in her eye was kindness. But what a pretty mask she was wearing. I took a mental picture which could explain all the rest.
It's our civic duty to do something, whatever it is. We gotta do something.
You know, every single person is definitely important to speak out their voice. But yeah, it's definitely easy with all the people in this world to think otherwise.
The same way that we make strides in some ways, you know, towards more acceptance. Obviously, the legislation around gay marriage, that's awesome. But then we're also going so far back with race and also with women's rights. So take a step further in one area and then just one other section of people lose them.
Less war, that'd be cool. So many people that are like, voting. Whatever, it doesn't affect me. But it does affect you. You don't know it, but it really does. There we go. Ballot.
The disparity in this country is so ridiculously grandiose that it's disgusting.
There's other people in the world, you know? There's other shit going on, and why would you not care? Everyone cares, they just don't always admit it to themselves.
If you're going to complain about things, you should at least try to affect them, I guess.
You know, people bitch about politics,
Yeah.
and if you're not
a part of it, don't bitch.
Yeah, if I'm gonna make a vote or a decision, I'd like mine to actually know what I'm doing, and I just haven't had the time to put into finding out what decision I should make.
I think that, I mean, not that you really have, I guess you could leave and like you're born into it, but if you're here and you're existing and you like expect things of the government, I think that you should vote and participate.
As for now, I feel that I don't have a big enough voice to be able to change any of the global issues, so I feel that I can only help in my community.
It's stupid to think that the problems are caused by the older generations, but I think that their attitude is dominant in like actual political action and that it's not helping.
Innovation and technology and making things better, but not in a way that it impacts the environment.
I think the aughts, you know, the 2000 aughts were a real weird time, and I think we're on the upswing of that and have been for a couple of years. I feel very optimistic about it.
You know, it'd be nice if our generation was known for the people that kind of, I guess, like, cleaned up the world in a sense.
Because we're gonna get to a point where like we don't have places to throw our trash like every other country, and people are gonna realize that type of stuff. Like this trend of being green, I hope that it continues because that's the only way. Like I don't know, like I have a lot of issues with our generation in the way that they buy organic and they recycle, but they don't think about the fact that they're throwing their iPhones away every year, and that causes me more pain than like the aluminum can that they're throwing in the ground.
And so when it comes to making changes in the world, it's like the education isn't there for people to actually make that change. Because instead people rely on social media, they rely on fake posts, fake news, fake blogs, whatever, just people's opinion instead of what's actually fact, what's actually true. And so it's a huge, almost like miseducation. And so I find it hard to have trust or confidence in our generation that will end up doing the right thing, because I don't even really know what the right thing is.
Honestly, you go through life and you see things and you just get traumatized with them. It's like are known as the cognizant generation, who actually wakes up and sees what we're doing wrong and decides to change it.
Sleep.